Good morning and welcome to today's episode of Wisdom Walk. Today I am going to talk to you a little bit about the season of late spring, not just in nature, but also in your own transformation arc. I have come to the realization that transformation very much emulates the seasons of the year, and I have broken spring into early spring and late spring because there are different things that are happening and different things that are different medicines to learn from each half of that particular season. And so today I'm going to talk to you about the season of late spring. And I've got notes to try to keep me from rambling on for too long. So if you see me glancing down, that's what I'm doing. So in late spring, as you know, everything is blooming, expanding, reaching. If you live in the Pacific Northwest, you know that, especially blackberry vines and as I'm about to show you, salmonberry bushes and many other trees and bushes and grass and everything is just growing like crazy this time of year. And they are in your own transformation arc. Late spring is when you're starting to feel bold and creative again. You're feeling more motivated, more expressive. But as you're about to see, it can also get really messy fast. And I'm going to flip the video around and you'll see exactly what I mean as I talk through this. So it has been maybe just a little over a week or about a week since I last came through here with my clippers to try to clear out a path for me, because if I don't do that, then I can't get through it. I end up wading through bushes instead of walking on this nice trail that was created by deer and elk that the dogs and I walk on a regular basis. So here we're coming through one little path. Again, you can kind of see that I cut back the brush in order to allow me to pass through. But we're about to get to a place where I also cut it back a week or so ago, and it is growing back so much. Now, as we're getting there, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about your nervous system. When you've reached the late spring season of transformation, your nervous system is coming back out of survival mode. It's starting to feel resourced. There might be a burst of momentum. You have ideas and energy. But if we aren't carefully tending this, pruning thoughts, patterns, and habits that creep back in, we can get overwhelmed and pulled back into our old habits and cycles. So, our protectors, right? I've talked in other conversations with you about the protectors. We each have these several of this group of archetypes that I like to call protectors, that you might hear them referenced in positive intelligence as saboteurs. But I like to think of them as protectors because what they're really trying to do is keep us safe. And when we start to start climbing back out of that overwhelm and into a new, more creative pathway, they feel a little overwhelmed because they like the homeostasis. Even though it's not necessarily good for us, they start to try to grow back and gain more control of us because they were more comfortable during that homeostasis. And now see here in nature, again, just a week ago, I pruned all this back, and I obviously have to come out with my prunes again. You can see there is still a trail here, but all of these branches have come forward and are blocking my path again. And So I'm gonna, for that particular thing, I need to come back with clippers. And when you look at this from the perspective of your nervous system, obviously you can't just go in with clippers and prune things back, but you can start to notice them when they start to reroot or kind of block your ideas with just like for example, in some of my most common protectors are the ones that like to tell me that if I am not instantly successful, that means that I'm completely, right, this is black and white thinking. If I'm not instantly successful, then that means that nobody likes what I'm selling, or my ideas are wrong, or all that kind of thing. And although logically, of course, I know that that's not true, that things take time, that people need to feel comfortable, and their own homeostasis needs to be overcome in order to persuade them that I can help. My own homeostasis is always at, it just wants to keep me safe and not trying. That's what it thinks is safe. When in actuality, of course, that doesn't keep me any more safe. It just keeps me stuck in the same old. So, when going back to nature again, when we think about nature, it can look like pulling weeds, pruning, overreaching vines like those ones, watering and removing bugs from our precious new growth. And in our mind, it's watching out for these old thoughts and habits that are trying to reroot, and making sure that it could look like making sure that you're only sharing your ideas with those people who are really going to support you, rather than, sometimes we can get so excited about our ideas that we just want to share them with anyone and everyone, and we're not being discerning at all. And then, the negative Nellies or the more practical people start pushing holes in our ideas before we're ready for that to happen. And so we need to make sure that we are only sharing ideas with those who will support our growth in a really positive way and encourage us. And we need to start to discern right timing. A lot of times when you're in this super creative mode, you have like all of these ideas and you want to just implement them all at once, but of course that can wear you out too. And so we need to start being more discerning and looking at timing, like what is the most timely thing right now, and really dropping into your own intuition and listening for what's the most important thing right now, being realistic about how much you can take on, and asking for help, right? Asking for support in the areas that we need support in. One of the common late spring societal traps is assuming that because we're going through this time of great creativity and all that we no longer need support, that we're like all healed, right? That we don't need it anymore. But in actuality, this is a time when we can actually continue to use the support from, in many different ways, depending on what it could be different for anyone. If you're a business owner, it can mean, getting a business coach's support. If you're trying to heal from old wounds, it can mean, some other sort of support for your emotional health. So if you are in this late spring abundance and feeling a burst of energy, enjoy it, right? I'm not saying, batten it down, shut it in, and go back to, early spring or winter or autumn, but to be aware of these sneaky habits and thoughts that start to creep in your, what I call your platoon of protectors, right? They have to outsmart you. And so they're very sneaky and very good at finding their way back in. So be discerning about these. And if you are not familiar with the platoon of protectors and you'd like to find out which ones are most likely going to be the ones that are getting in your way of growth, I'm going to drop the link to the quiz that will help you determine which of these protectors are your most common ones in the link below. All right, everyone, I hope you are having a fabulous late spring in real life, and I'm always here if you need me. Thanks so much.